It's £1 million show edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, the 11th of August. It's one of my favourite shows of the year tonight. It is the £1 Million show. We've got a reputation to protect. Joining me, £2 extra in the Christmas party fund, Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, how you doing?
I'm all right. I arrived here bang on 10 o'clock, Malcolm. No extra pounds in the Christmas party fund. I was definitely
not acceptable,
on time. Yes, as you say, exciting show. Love the £1 Million show. Some of us have more of a reputational pull here because they've hit it 3 out of 3, made a profit. I know you failed on the Euros, where I continued to be absolutely on fire at this sort of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to doing it all again.
Yeah, I did fuck that one up, but we've got generally decent form in the £1 Million show. The general idea, if you haven't heard the show before, is we and Baz will take a fictional £1 million and we'll just throw it about willy and nilly on whatever markets we like in the Premier League, basically just giving an insight into how we would attack an anti-post betting and what stuff we like. I'm absolutely delighted with my picks, Buzz. I would put £1 million on every single one of mine, but I would need £8 million because I've got 8 picks. How many picks have you got, by the way? We haven't discussed this.
I've got 7. I think I've covered 6
markets.
Okay. So one market
so
I've got 2.
If I go first, I'll be able to bookend them. That's very good.
Yeah, I like mine as well. I mean, some of them will come as no surprise given what we've talked about in our sort of Premier League preview show. But I've got a couple of other new stuff in there as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I must admit, towards the end, mine get a little bit Newcastle heavy the last couple. But you can tune out later on. Lots of football to wrap up just over the weekend. The Olympics, we get out the way. Spain won. I can't remember. It wasn't my outright pick. I did take the USA women, though. That Spain-France game was brilliant on Friday night. Spain were absolutely magnificent. Took goals over 2.5, finished 3-3 and then 5-3. So pissed up with that. So, yeah, good Olympics all round. Like I say, didn't watch too much of it. Wasn't a priority, I don't think, for many people. But the final was good. Enjoyed it. But the EFL was really good over the weekend, Baz. Firstly, just in terms of the football, there was loads of great games. Sheffield United Friday night. Leeds Portsmouth was a madness yesterday. Watford 3-2 last minute. Wrexham got a win. Well done them. Bromley got their first league win. What did I watch today? Oh, Sheffield Wednesday. Oh, it was a bad day. If your manager's made entirely out of corned beef, that wasn't ideal, was it? He looks more like a shaved bear every time I see him. I enjoyed them getting humped today, Plymouth. And then picks-wise, I didn't really do very well. I got shafted by one game, basically. So I hit 2. Sheffield United was a nice pick. Wimbledon were 2-0 down after 4 minutes. I thought, oh, fucking hell. They came back and won 4-2. But the one that absolutely shafted me was MK Dons Bradford. So I gave out the over 2.5 to stick in your parlays. Then the over 3.5 was 13-8. Bradford are 2-0 up after 5 minutes. MK Dons get one back after 14 minutes. And I thought, here we go. This is going to finish anything. And then it was the Sky game on Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. So I watched it, and both teams made chance after chance after chance after chance and could not score. So that was the difference between me breaking even and ending up like 2 units down for me 7. Because like I say, Sheffield United was a nice pick on Friday night. I think, Baz, you did a little bit better overall, didn't you? What did you finish up?
I got my nose in front. A few little close ones that let me down in the end. I took Middlesbrough to beat Swansea, or a decent price, close enough to even money. Bristol City was me outside. I wasn't. I started with an underdog. They did take the lead in the 84th minute, and then Hull come back in injury time with a penalty to equalise. So I nearly got the underdog in. League One, I had Peterborough to score 2 goals. That was shite. But Lincoln were a big price. 7-4 Lincoln were to score 2 or more. So I got that in at a good price. Lincoln scored 3 in the end. And then down in League Two, where did I go? I took a treble, didn't I? I put 3 winners out. Unfortunately, only 2 of them turned out to be winners. It was MK Dons that let me down. I took Doncaster. I took Walsall to beat Morecambe. And the final one was MK Dons. Shame, because if MK Dons had managed to turn that one round, that would have been a lovely little treble as well. But overall, I think I had 4 winners from 7 picks, and a couple of them at good prices. So profit for me on the week from the AFL stuff.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it on Friday night. Obviously, Blackburn Derby was the game on Friday. That was good. I was keeping tabs on the Sheffield United game. But then I watched the games. I watched Sunderland actually on Saturday lunchtime. Callum, who was in the chat, we're going to say hello to everyone in a minute. He's not possible nomination for the tit list this week because he messaged me asking if we should bet on Sunderland. So obviously I told him, oh, no, because they're shite. And then they won, but the dickhead doubled them up with Leeds. So that's what you get. So we're happy with that. Hope there's a lesson learned there somewhere. So you avoid the tit list this week, Callum, but be careful.
I mean, I didn't watch. I didn't actually get to watch a great deal of football this weekend. I was too busy watching synchronized swimming, the modern pentathlon. That's a funny one, isn't it? Not sure what to make of that. I reckon I could do the modern pentathlon. Like,
well,
sure running.
You are very modern, Baz.
Or the getting on the horse, or the swimming. Apart from that, I could shoot that gun though. I'd be all right at that bit. Olympics is over. Sad times.
Modern pentathlon is that the horse riding. It's just a random horse. They pull the horses out of a massive hat. You just get a random horse you've never met before.
You could be in the front, going into the horse, into the show jumping bit, and get drawn out with the 20th worst horse, like bottom ranked horse, and it can just behave like an absolute nuisance. There was one at the weekend actually where it just trotted around. It kept going to the side a bit, and then it went to the first fence, and it just chucked her straight over its head, and that was it. That was her show jumping over. She was on the floor, all because she got the bad draw with a horse. It's a funny old game, like, isn't it?
It's the point, isn't it? You've got to demonstrate your skill at mastering the equine. Remember, I said I could be quite the horseman. I would be fine.
Modern pentathlon is definitely one of those that's just for people who weren't very good at or weren't good enough at everything. Like, I've tried the swimming, I'm not quite good enough at that. I've tried the horses, like, I'm not very good. I'm okay. So, like, you're okay at everything, but you're not good enough to compete in it individually. So you just cram them all in together and become a good pentathlon player, or whatever you want to call them.
Originally, it was it's a military test, isn't it? It's supposedly for all the disciplines that make you a good soldier, hence the riding a horse, fencing. What else do they do?
Swimming,
marching,
shooting,
wanking on a biscuit, stuff like that. All the important stuff that the military get out, playing the trombone, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's exciting.
Bagpipes.
Bagpipes, yeah. Wearing daft hats. Speaking of which, got a psychedelic bucket hat on, Baz. Don't say that very often, do you? You having that?
No, that's nice.
No,
I like it. Yeah, it's all right.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I did have the brim turned up earlier on, but I lost my bottle like about 2 minutes before we started, which isn't like me. But I thought that was a bit too much, so I put my brim back down. What else are we going to talk about? I think that's it. Oh, no, I'll tell you what I wanted to mention, Baz. Just the Community Shield, just to wrap that up as well. Because I was watching MK Dons, so I kept flicking on when the ball went out to play in the MK Dons game. So I saw probably about 5 minutes of it all told, but I did just happen to flick it on as it went to penalties because I was going to work, but I stuck it on and watched the penalty shootout. So it was very funny that Man United lost. It was also funny watching the little clip of all the stupid Man United YouTube channels celebrating and then getting the hump. And Johnny Evans' penalty was brilliant. It was like he was trying to kick it over the bar. I've never seen a penalty like that before because he didn't blast it over and he didn't Panenka it. It was like, Johnny, see if you can kick that over the bar. All right, no problem. And he just did. Like, no, yeah, watch this. It was like he said, watch this before he kicked it. So I was pleased they got beat.
Yeah, obviously, please, Man United get beat any time, but I didn't watch any of it because who cares? Like, it's just pointless, isn't it? The Community Shield. No one will remember who won that game next year.
I was reserves on it. That's why I didn't want to bet on it and not really want to talk about it. But I did enjoy. I was irrationally pissed off when the Man United scored. I was more pissed off than I needed to be, but then was delighted. Harry doesn't like the bucket hats, but he wants any bucket hat wearers on the tilt list. It's a bit strong, isn't it?
Harsh.
Buying that. Right, okay. £1 million, Baz. Go and get your wallet out. The Sports Gambling Podcast have launched their 32 NFL team previews. As a bonus, each team preview's got a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and the SGPN app. So apart from Callum and Harry, Lee's here. Great. Brian McDonald, Pete's picks. Pete had a decent weekend on the GGs. Got a few tomorrow, so we're going to see what Pete's got lined up for Monday. Right, so I love this, Baz. I love the £1 million show. The usual system I use, or what's worked for me, is to find one bet that's going to get me into profit, like me cornerstone bet. I think it was last season was Man United to win and Sheffield United to finish bottom. But this year, Baz, I can't find one. I couldn't find, because I think the Man U Arsenal thing for the league, or anyone else you want to factor in,
Man United.
It's a bit of a toss-up. Sorry?
You keep saying Man United to win the league, and that didn't happen last year, and it's not going to happen this year.
Did I say Man United?
Yeah, twice.
Bucket hats restricting the blood flow, but Man City, obviously. And the relegation market. So the biggest draw, I wanted Southampton to get relegated at 5-4, but it's just the stupid points deductions have got me second guessing everything that's going on. Leicester. And then there's more talk about Everton possibly getting one again tonight. So that's led me away from that. So I really, really struggled for me cornerstone. And that's led me to spread things out a little bit more. So that's why I've got 8 picks when often I could be restricted to 5 or 6. So my first play, but I'm going to go highest amount first. Is that the plan?
Yeah, same for me. And I would say the same. I like to get at least one bet in that gets me over $1 million straight away. Me sort of banker. But like you, found it a little bit difficult. And I've also avoided the relegation market or the bottom of the league market. Actually, I haven't. I have got a bottom of the league pick. But I've avoided the relegation market purely because of, like you say, too much uncertainty around points deductions. It just makes everything a little bit messy down that end.
Callum's asking about the League Cup, so we can have a little dip into that later on as well. Right, so first up, Barry. I've got £350,000, Baz, on. Might surprise you, this one. Nottingham Forest over 38 points. It's 6-5 plus 120. So they accumulated 36 last year. They have finished on 32 because they had a 4-point deduction. This year, PSR-wise, they're fine. I've consulted with Nibs. Nibs says they're absolutely fine because we sold them Elliot Anderson at an exorbitant rate. And I just think they'll be better second season under Nuno. They did them along with Wolves suffered tremendous VAR bad luck. So that should normalise a little bit. 38 points is too low. Like, I can see Forest easily getting up to 14th, 13th this year and being around the 44 points mark. So 350 grand, Baz, wins me 770. Forest over 38 points at 6-5.
Yeah, so my biggest bet is, and that did catch me by surprise. I wasn't expecting it to come up with something like that, but yes, you do you. I've left Forest out of everything because I don't know what to make of Forest this season. But my big pick is a fairly boring one. It's Man City to win the league. Last year, I think my big pick was Man City to win the league and Haaland top scorer, and obviously that came off. This year, I've left Haaland out of it because I think Man City are a big enough price on their own. In fact, I think I'm probably getting a bigger price this year for them to win the league than I did last year with chucking Haaland in. 6-4 now in places Man City. So I have to start there. 6-4. I just think it's too big a price. They've won 6 of the last 7. The one that didn't win, they finished second and not by a long way. Just too good a price. 300,000 on City at 6-4 to return 750,000 will be my first pick. Yeah, I just think 6-4 is going to be big. I do wonder if it's the sort of any slight potential of the charges coming to fruition that's pushing them up slightly, because I just think they're a bit bigger than I would expect. I don't think much is, well, nothing's really changed in terms of the squad. We know now De Bruyne's staying. Edison's confirmed he's staying. You know, a year on, I think Doku will be a bit better. Signed that Savinho as well from Brazil. So nothing's really changed for me, and I don't think much has changed in Arsenal for us to think they're going to close that gap. So yeah, City to win the league again. I'm afraid it's a boring start.
No, it's not boring though, because people want outright picks on important stuff rather than Nottingham Forest points total, Baz. So it's a nice juxtaposition for my second play, Baz. I'm staying in the same market on a points total, and it's 200 grand on Manchester United under 64 points. They're absolutely shite, Baz. Right, so here's the thing. They finished, the price is 5-6, minus 120. They got 60 points last year, right? Are they going to be any better this season than 60 points? Do you think?
No, I mean, I haven't seen anything to think they're going to be any better.
Are they going to be 4 points better? Do you know what I mean? So they could be better, but 4 points better. I don't see it. And I know we take the piss every week, and I know it's one of our things. But this is just genuine from watching them every week. Look, we couldn't wait to fade them, and they were lucky. I mean, the amount of points they picked up in those early games at home when they had absolutely no business. Obviously, De Ligt and Masraoui have come in today, and I don't know about them. The main red flag for me is it's just a manager signing people that he knows, which to me seems that's
exactly what he's done throughout, isn't it? With
the
likes of Anthony and Van der Beek and stuff like that. It's gone on for a long time. It hasn't worked.
It's never worked. I mean, that's what that's what used to happen in the 80s. Like Jim Smith would be the Newcastle manager, and then there was like a manager always had like 4 players he used to carry around with him in about and then Jim Smith would sign his top scorer from Derby and his best centre half from Derby and then his goalie from Derby, and then Jim Smith would get sacked and go to someone else and take them all with him, and that's just what happened. And that's a red flag. At Munich selling good players, I wouldn't think why they're doing that. And also just the values of them, like Masraoui's at 20, coming in about 20 million. You can't get much for 20 million nowadays. That's no difference to Dalot. I would say Dallow's a good player. Like, he's got a lot better recently. I think he's a bit ADHD. He's crackers. But if they sold him, he's a 40 million pound player. De Ligt, I asked Bob a little bit about De Ligt, and he didn't really know too much either. Like, so I don't know. I'm just not convinced. And then they're still trotting out. I mean, Euro's injured for quite a while. It's the same old thing, Baz. I'm not buying it. So I just don't think. I wanted to fade them somehow, and this was the best way. I looked at all the markets. This was the best way because I don't think they'll be any better, and I certainly don't think they'll be 4 points better. 200 grand, Baz, wins me £366,666.66.
Easy money. Easy money. Next one up for me then is one I did mention earlier, and how easily it is to find this bet, I don't know, but I found it on Sky Bet, and it's a bet for who's going to win the league without the big seven in it. The big seven, including Newcastle. So we've got Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle out of the running. Who's going to finish next best out of everybody else? And Villa at 5-4 just stands out a mile. Like, I just don't see that much regression from Villa, and I don't see who's going to come out the pack to finish above Villa. So 5-4 Villa to finish best of the rest after those sort of seven at the top of the market just looks a great price to me. So I've got 200,000 on that. Villa to finish top without the big seven at 5-4, £200,000 to return £450,000.
Now I haven't got Villa in any of my picks here, Baz, but I really like them. I just don't see this drop off. Newcastle had the drop off last year when they were in the Champions League, but I think for entirely different reasons. We played the same 11 people for about 3 months solid,
It wasn't the
including a
Champions League that was the problem, like, for us, was it? It was the injuries.
No, including a 17-year-old kid who should have been nowhere near the team, played 20 straight games. Villa competed in Europe, all right, at a slightly lower level, but made it all the way to the semi-final. It was, what was it, April? Maybe it was early May when Olympiacos stitched them out of that. And it didn't bother them. I see progression again from Villa. I did want to get them in somewhere, and I haven't managed it. But yeah, I've got Villa top four, like top four, top six. That pick, Barry, that's the arse sniffer. Absolutely, of this episode, the old arse sniffer there. But Underdog Fantasy. If you can go 8-0 over on Underdog Fantasy, you can win 325 times your entry. That's a lot. Or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. And Underdog just launched the season-long college football projections, higher and lower for your favourite college football players. You can use specials and boosts on all of those entries. Use our code PLGP to sign up. Claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Third, then, for me, is I've got all 3 promoted teams to get relegated again, Baz. It's 6-1, 100 grand to win 700. Now, I know it doesn't happen that often, and I know it happened last year, but I'm just looking at the teams here. So, my first pick for a start was Nottingham Forest to go okay, and they're like your 17th ranked team. You're then looking at Everton, possible points, but ended up with 50 points last year. There's some good teams. Those teams in the bottom half, really, I would say Forest and Everton. Brentford are the ones that would slightly worry. But then West Ham, I think West Ham are going to be really good. Palace, Bournemouth will be decent. Fulham will be decent, good signings. Now, obviously, they can't all finish 12th. They're going to finish in an order, but they're just going to be, I think they're going to be considerably better. Leicester look really poor. There's no one in the squad. If you load up the Fantasy League page and look down the Leicester squad, there's no one in it, Baz. It's rubbish. And they've got a 4 points deduction. And then you've got Southampton and Ipswich, 2 young managers, a little bit like Company and Rob Edwards from Luton last year. And I do hope they go well, because I don't just want it start being a thing where 3 teams can come up and not even get close. But last year, the 3 teams didn't just go down. Apart from maybe 2 weeks in January when we thought Luton might have a pop, it was only ever one outcome. Sheffield United didn't try. Fuck knows what Burnley were playing at. Luton had a little good go around January. But the competition for these teams just looks better, considerably better. And I think 6-1's a really good price. But my only worry is Brentford. They've still got Tony. We'll see how long that lasts. But I think there's worth 6-1 shots around. So 100 grand to win 700, Baz.
Yeah, I looked at that one actually and considered it, but it didn't quite make the cut. Next for me is a bit of a random one. It's available on Bet365, and they've got a few match bets of various players matched up against each other in terms of who's going to score the most. And I've gone into the market for Phil Foden versus Cole Palmer.
Looked at this, Baz. I looked at this.
The very same one, did you?
Yeah.
So the prices I have now lost. So I know the price of the one I'm taking, but I don't know the price of the other one. I should
It's about 4-6. Palmer was about 4-6, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that. 4-6 Palmer, 2-1 for Foden. So it probably doesn't take much of a sort of guess to see which way I'm going to go. 4-11 Palmer. It's massively short, isn't it? 4-11 Palmer, Phil Foden 2-1. Now last season they finished 3 apart, so I think it was 22 goals for Palmer, 19 for Foden, something like that. They were almost identical for shots on goal. They were almost identical for shots on target. The big difference was Cole Palmer's 9 penalties and him scoring all 9 of them. And that's not normal. That's like for any striker to get 9 penalties. They got more penalties than anyone in the league. And to score all 9 of them isn't normal. I like Cole Palmer. I think he'll have another good season. But that 9 penalties could easily become 6 penalties or 7 penalties and he misses one. And then that brings them right neck and neck. So I think 2-1 Foden just looks a good price for the team who probably will be the highest scoring team in the league to overcome Palmer. And Palmer might have Nkunku around there. I mean, he's got around 47 other players to compete with for goals.
All the other footballers in the world.
Everybody else.
Neto's
the latest guy. So I think there'll be a little bit of drop back from Palmer. Still think he'll have a good season, but 2-1 looks good for Foden. I'm taking £150,000 on Foden to outscore Palmer at 2-1. That'll return 450,000.
I looked at when I saw those markets at the top. I was rubbing my hands. I thought I'll find something in here, and it was still really. It was like 100 to 30 on. There wasn't much, was there? But
most of them were all a bit skewed too far the wrong way, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I would have thought they would have matched them up like 10 to 11 each of two was the idea, but it wasn't. It was bollocks. But that's the one, Baz. You've sniffed out the belter. Okay, so next up, I've got a little accumulator here, Barry, and it's markets that I've mentioned a couple of times on shows we've been looking at. So it's an accumulator in the team top scorer market. So this is which player is going to top score for an individual club. It's a 3-leg acca. First up, I've got 2 shorties. And you know who my third one's going to be because I've mentioned him a few times. So first up, I've got Ollie Watkins at 100 to 30 on, minus 333. Clear and obvious. The only thing that beats Watkins is injury for Villa. The same can be said for Alexander Isak at Newcastle, 2 to 5, minus 250. The only thing that beats Isak is injury. And the reason I've put them to win with this bet is because I wanted to get Rodrigo Muniz for Fulham somewhere in this. But at 4 to 5, I didn't want to sit here and put 600 grand on at 4 to 5 or whatever. I wanted to get this bet up because I just think he's by far and away the number 1, number 9. Fulham should be all right, decent. I don't mind the manager. He's proved himself. You can't argue with Marco Silva. The competition's Raul Jimenez, and he just doesn't score anymore. Muniz will stand up top all the time. Smith Rowe's a good player. They've got the decent players they've got, though, Alex Iwobi, who never scores, Adama Traore, who never scores. So, again, it's Muniz or injury. That pays just over 5 to 2, Baz. No, 23 to 10. Round about the 100 grand on that treble. Watkins, Isak, and Muniz pays 336 grand. So, yeah, 2.36 to 1. 100 grand on the treble there, Baz.
Nice. Right. My next one is going to be, I've got 2 of them where it's 100 grand, but one of them's in each way shot. So I'll go with 100k straight up, which is a little bit of a rogue one here. I've gone into the top team goal scorer, similar to what you've just done, but I've got something completely different.
Okay.
I've gone into the Brighton market. I'm trying to bring up the market now because it's better if I can go through who else is where. So João Pedro is 11-8, Evan Ferguson 3-1, Danny Welbeck 8-1, and Cisse 8-1, and Minter at 8-1. I'm stuttering because Minter about 20 minutes ago was 11-1 on this market, and this is where I've gone. I've gone for Yankuba Minter, formerly of Newcastle United, despite never playing a game. He was one that we had to sell due to PSR. Had a really good season for Feyenoord last season. Scored 10 for Feyenoord in Holland last year. He scored 2 already in pre-season for Brighton, and I think he'll get a few goals this season. And the reason I've taken him here is because Brighton don't have a 15 or 20 goal a season man. Brighton spread the goals around every year. Last year, Pedro was the top scorer. How many did Pedro get last year?
9.
9, exactly.
Did he? Fucking hell.
Adingra got 6. Ferguson got 6. So you don't need a ton of goals to threaten the top scorer market at Brighton. If Minter gets 7 or 8, he might be enough. Because the year before was similar. It was it was McAllister with 10, Pascal Gross with 9, and then there was a few of them in behind with 7s and 6s and stuff. So they do spread it around loads, and I think there's opportunity there. If he can get off to a good start, he'll nail down a starting place on the right-hand side. He was 11-1, so I'm claiming him 11-1 because that's what price he was when I looked at it before. Minter to be Brighton's top scorer at 11-1 is £100,000 stake for me. That's the one that's going to get me into profit, Mal.
The amount of Newcastle fans pissing their knickers about him every time he scores in pre-season is unbearable. Like,
no, I agree. I agree. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, well, that'll come back to kick us in the arse." Newcastle will regret that. Newcastle won't regret it. Newcastle had to sell him. Like, we bought him for what, 8 million and sold him for 40 million a year later without him ever having turned up at St James's Park. It's just business, wasn't it?
And yeah, the same people whinge about Jacob Murphy without pointing out that Jacob Murphy scored more pre-season goals than Minter, but doesn't matter. Minter's got 3 now. So yeah, Jacob Murphy's got 4. What's your point? Morons like Cree's asking about Rodrigo to City. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know too much about that, Baz, you?
No, I hadn't heard that one.
Okay, you'll have to tell us, Cree, what the crack is. Right, so we'll move. I think we're about halfway through. Let's pay the boatman here. Rhythm. I've got you covered. Football season is here. College football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that, or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists. Got you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. 7-day free trial is at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions are back. $16 million in guaranteed prizes. If you haven't got a trip booked yet for Vegas, 22nd to the 24th of August, half the network will be out there. Promo code SGP15 saves you 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. And if you're signing up, use our proxy. Sign up in Vegas, but play from anywhere. Proxy.footballcontest.com and $50 off there with the promo code SGP. I haven't told you about my little mystery guessing game that's going on here, Baz. I've got a strawberry plant, right? It's going along quite nicely, a few straws on there. But then a random little thing started growing in the corner. I thought, that's interesting. So I took it out all careful and I repotted it by itself just to see what happens. And this was about maybe a month ago, and now it's a canny height, like it's about 6 inches tall. So every day I Google Lens it. I don't know what it is. Could be anything. I Google Lens it, So in the last week or so, the internet thinks it's a watermelon. So, I mean, I'm now officially Tynesyde's premier watermelon grower. Because I think I've planted the strawberry out in my little compost heap, so there could be any old shit in there. Any old seeds have gone in there. Could be one of a million things, like any kind of Tory scran would have gone in there. But yeah, for the last week, every day, the internet's convinced it's a watermelon. So that's interesting, Baz. We'll see how that goes. Where are we going? Is it my turn? Right, okay. Next is a player that I have mentioned a few times. We're still in the top team scorer market. So you've got to Brighton. You know where I'm going to go, Baz. Where am I going to go? Guess.
I can't be Fulham again, surely.
It's not Fulham again. It's Liverpool, Barry.
Oh, Liverpool, of course. Yeah.
Of course it is. So yeah, it's Diego Jota to be the Liverpool top scorer. 11-1, Baz. Just too big a price for me. Salah's 1-2. We're talking play. It's playing time. It's how much playing time he gets. But when Jota plays, Jota scores. I don't know how much more rope they're going to give Darwin Núñez before he hangs himself. I just thought 11-1's too big. I wouldn't have expected that price even a little bit. So yeah, 50 grand, Baz, to win 600,000. I've just realised I've got another bet. So I've got 9 bets, not 8 bets as well. Just to let you know. So yeah, Diego Jota, top Liverpool scorer, 11-1, Baz.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go straight into the top scorer market, Premier League top scorer. And this won't come as any surprise. I've got to have Isak in there. I'd be surprised if you haven't got him as well. But it's another 100k for me because I'm going to take him each way. I mentioned it for anyone that didn't listen to the earlier Premier League show. It's just the amount. He was close enough last year anyway. It was, 5 behind Haaland in the end. And that only got away right towards the end of the season as well. But his goals per 90 is second only to Haaland. And he just played far less time than the likes of Palmer, Solanke, Watkins. Everyone around him had a lot more game time. He had a bit of a timeshare with Wilson at the start of last season. That won't happen. I think he'll get a lot more game time. He'll get more goals and he'll push Haaland. Don't get me wrong, Haaland's a big favourite. Haaland can go and hit 3 or 4 hat-tricks and make it really, really difficult for everyone. But it's 16-1. Isak is a value bet in this market for me. And each way, 1/4 of the odds for top 4 is just too generous. So I will have £50,000 each way on Isak, 16-1 to be Premier League top scorer.
Okay, well, that works out for me, Baz, because I don't have to talk through it. I've got the same bet, but I've got 25k each way, Baz. Effectively, if you don't think he's going to win it, the bet pays 6-4 for a place. So if you put a tenner each way, you're going to return 50 quid. So it's 6-4 for a place, basically, for Isak. So yeah, I don't have to talk my way through that one because I have found an extra one, Baz. The one I hadn't, I numbered them up 1 to 8. The one I didn't number up is the PFA Player of the Year, Barry. Are you into that market?
No.
No? So the answer is Martin Odegaard, Baz, at 14-1. And I'll tell you my thinking here is that I didn't want to pick Arsenal outright, but I think they very well could go and win it. And if they do, Martin Odegaard's their best player. So I think if Arsenal win the league, there's a very good chance that Odegaard gets Player of the Year. So basically, I'm getting 14-1 on Arsenal to win the league. I've broke the system, Baz. I've crashed the whole system. Everyone else is taking 7-4. I've got 14-1 here. It's easy. He is the best player. I can't see like Saka or someone racking up 25 goals. Like Declan Rice does all right. He'll mooch around, but he won't sort of catch the eye too much. So yeah, that was it. It was a way of getting something on Arsenal because I do like them. So yeah, 50 grand, Baz, on Odegaard, PFA Player of the Year, 14-1, wins me 750 grand.
Yeah, I don't mind that angle. Like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good way of getting in on them in a different kind of fashion. I've got a bit of Odegaard coming up. So my next market is the most assists. I've got 2 picks here. So the market for most assists, I think, is wide open. once you get past the favourite. And I think you can get some good value if you fade the favourite. The problem is the favourite very well might go and win it. Last year, Watkins won it. 13 assists was the winner. Palmer had 11. But then in behind them, there was 9 players tied on 10. There was another 6 on 9. It was tight as anything. Like, you're talking about sort of Palmer was a little bit away. Sorry, Watkins and Palmer were a bit away, but the next 15 were all within 1 assist of each other. The problem is De Bruyne. De Bruyne has 9-4 to win here. Now, I don't want to back that at 9-4. It might win, but with so many in the mix, 9-4 is no kind of value. And he's favoured for a good reason. He only played half the season. He only started 19 games last year and still got 10 assists. So if he stays fit and he plays every week, he'll undoubtedly win this market, I think. But there's enough
He
doubt
was
there.
favourite, Baz, in the Player of the Year market. He was 9-2 favourite in that. And I just didn't. I thought he was too short. Injuries. Looks a bit. You see him in the Euros. Just looks like he's dropped off a little bit. I think the same with Salah. Just a tiny. Someone will improve past him. Yeah.
I think I still think there's enough quality. There's the quality there, but the question mark for me is around the injuries. He doesn't seem to be able to avoid injuries for a full season. I'd be amazed if he does start more than 25 games. 25 games might still be enough for him to win this market. But the fact you can get anybody else in the league at double figures makes it a good market to get involved with. I think I've gone for 2 picks in this one, £50,000 on each, and 2 players who got into double figures. So both of these players were on 10 last season, and both just one off second place and 3 behind Watkins. First one is Odegaard, 16-1. I'm going to have 50k on him. And the other one is one that Lee mentioned in the chat earlier. It's Anthony Gordon, who also got 10 last season. So 2 picks, most assists. I did the same last year. I went with Salah and Maddison last year in this market. Maddison got off to a flyer, then turned out to be shite. And Salah wasn't that far behind, but couldn't quite make up the ground. But yeah, picks for me. Odegaard, most assists in the Premier League, 16-1, £50,000 to return £850,000. And Anthony Gordon, £50,000 for the most assists at 20-1 to return 1.05 million.
So if Arsenal win the league and Odegaard gets the most assists, Baz, who's getting PFA Player of the Year?
Easy. But you'll have your 14-1, and I'll have my 16-1.
We've wrapped this up. If I win and you come second, though. Right, this is the point in my list, Barry, where it gets a little bit Newcastle heavy, I'm going to be honest. But it genuinely not just because I've looked at every market known to man over the last few weeks, and these are just genuine. All right, maybe the last one's a bit of a homer pick. Before I claim these are all genuine picks, the last one might be slightly one-eyed. This next one, though, Baz, you like this a lot. Golden Glove, Barry. Nick Pope. It's 16-1, so there's a Burnley angle here. I'm giving Lee away. The season before last, before his arm fell off for a bit, Newcastle were outstanding at the back. Nick Pope was outstanding. It was one of our things that we have the best defensive record in the league, I think, or the second best, something like that. Absolutely outstanding. And this year, with only 38 games to play, we should be rolling out the same team. You've seen Livramento take a step forward. You've seen Hall take a step forward. We'll get Botman back pretty soon. I think we might have jinxed fucking Gahey. We shouldn't have talked about him the other night because he's still not over the line. But with Gahey coming in, I think 16-1 is a gigantic price. And you don't have to be brilliant to win it. I think Man United won it last year. Did what's his face? Onana win it, I think. Bear in mind he's shit. Am I getting confused?
I thought Raya got it last year, I think.
Oh, maybe. But yeah, I might have imagined
the year before that, David De Gea got it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think, yeah. All right, okay. So I'm a year out. But it's entirely possible, like, if I think Newcastle could defend. Well, yeah, 16-1 is just a very, very big price pass. This is win only, no each way place on this. But 50k to win. I wrote down 450k. That's not right, is it? 750k. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's me, Baz. Nick Pope. 850. I love maths, mate. Go on, you say stuff.
Yeah, I've only got Well, I've got two more picks, but I'm going to bundle them in together because they're both involved with the same team. They're both wildly contrasting picks, but actually both could happen. They are small picks for a reason here. These are big prices, short amounts of money. I've only got 50 grand left, and I've split it not quite in half. But the first one is for Manchester City to finish bottom of the league. £30,000 on Man City to finish bottom of the league at 33-1, purely on the off chance that the 137 charges come to fruition and they're found guilty on all of them, and they get what would they need? A 60-point deduction, or just get turfed out of the league. I don't know. They're going to need a big points deduction, but purely on that very, very slight chance, I'll have 30 grand. A mythical 30,000 on City to finish bottom of the league, and my final £20,000 is also involving Man City. But the two of these could both happen. This is City to go unbeaten, 25-1, £20,000 on City to go unbeaten at 25-1. They only lost 3 last season. Can't even remember who they were, but I don't think they were against anyone. Well, I think Spurs beat them, didn't they?
So Palace always beat them. Do they not beat them?
They lost one of them. It's hard for anybody to go unbeaten in this league. We know that. But 25-1. I only had 20,000 left. I needed to find someone stupid. But City could go unbeaten and then could get whacked with a 100-point deduction and get relegated. And I might hit both of those and cash myself £1.5 million. So yeah, bundle them in together. Bottom of the league, City, 33-1, £30,000. And City to go unbeaten this season, 25-1, £20,000.
Like that, Baz. My final play is a little bit of a homer play here. It's not entirely stupid. I've taken Newcastle for a top 2 finish, 50 grand at 12-1. Mainly because, Baz, we're going to be absolutely fucking mint and we're going to smash the granny out of everybody else. But I'm not a stupid man. I didn't take them for a top 1 finish. I've factored in a little safety net. We're going to get beat on goal difference on the last day of the season. So top 2 finish for the tune 12-1. 50k, 650,000. Bosh, bash, bosh, baz. £1 million well spent. I can't see what could possibly go wrong.
Easy, innit? I mean, we've proved before. People will sit there laughing at this stuff and mocking us for this stuff. And yet, we have a track record of making £1 million into more than £1 million regularly on the World Cup, the Premier League, the Euro. Well, some of us the Euros. But, you know, we've done it before. We'll do it again.
He says he's not even writing that last bet down, which, more fool you, Lee, tells me you have been writing the other bets down. So who's the fool? Me or you? Exactly. Right. Earlier on, Callum asked about the League Cup, Baz. So get your League Cup page up. Let's pick an underdog each. Well, in fact, it doesn't have to be an underdog. Pick anything you like. I watched quite a lot of football over the weekend. I watched all the highlights. So I'm well versed. This is going to be round 1 of the League Cup, which is all 3 divisions, I think. Yeah, all 3 divisions in there. So someone's going to win something. Right, I'm scrolling down here. Who was good and who was bad? I don't think MK Dons were very good. I was disappointed in them. Coventry never start. I was talking to Coventry fan today, the manager of the baseball team's a Cov fan, and he pointed out that they never ever start until September. So Bristol City might be a good bet. Round about 13-10. They told the Coventry
Bristol City to win the Carabao Cup.
Sorry?
Are we talking about actual picks from games?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about who's going to win the Carabao Cup.
What, and you think I picked Bristol City?
Well, I wondered why you started off with MK Dons, Coventry, and Bristol City. I was thinking this is I was going to go for Newcastle, obviously. Yeah, you caught me off guard a bit there. I haven't given any thought.
No, there's games on.
Yeah.
Actually, I found it. Oh, have I? Wrexham, not a bad price. 7-2 away at Sheffield United. I'm going to go for Saturday's defeat was out of character for MK Dons. They are 17-4 plus 425 to win away at Watford on Tuesday night. Watford done me in at the weekend, but that's shite. So, yeah, MK Dons for me, but I quite like Bristol City at home as well, Baz.
Yeah,
You
I mean, I would take one that I know Lee won't like, but I'm going to take Blackburn. Blackburn had a good result the weekend, didn't they? Yes, they did. Blackburn 6-4 to beat Stockport away from home, like, and one that you won't like would be Sunderland to beat Preston 7-5. Stick them two in a double and get what?
Okay, nice. I'm going to get Lee to give us a bet for tomorrow. Luton v Burnley tomorrow. Must be horrible having to wait for the Monday night on the first weekend of the season. I was talking to Matty at baseball today, Tottenham fan, and they play on the Monday night next weekend. That would be horrible, horrible, horrible waiting. When it kicks off on Friday, having to wait all the way through till the Monday night. So yeah, but we get is it Luton Burnley or Burnley Luton, one or the other tomorrow. It is Luton Burnley, Luton 13-10. Burnley 19-10, draw 12-5. Interesting to see how we go there. Well, I think that's me done, Baz. You anything you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, you like this one. Story from home. And it's right up your street because you're a bit of a fanny as well. But I went to work on Friday, went in the office. I'd been there about an hour and I got a message from Helen saying you need to come home. And I was like, what's going on? Next thing I get is a picture of a massive spider on the ceiling.
Oh.
So apparently there's 3 of them freaking out about this big spider. So I've obviously told her to do one. I'm not coming home. I've got important things to do at work, you know what I mean? Keeping this country rolling. Next thing I get a message off Chloe saying, Dad, are you coming home to get this spider? And can you give a lift to my mates? So she wasn't happy and was using the spider, I think, more to get me home with the car so she could get a lift somewhere. And then the little one was messaging me, freaking out about when are you coming home to get this spider?
Where was the spider on the ceiling?
It's on the ceiling in the utility room. I said to Helen, get the Hoover on it. She was like, it's massive, it won't fit in the Hoover. Seemingly it did, because eventually it did go in the Hoover. The only thing I had to do was empty the Hoover when I got home because nobody would touch it. But yeah, proper freaking out. Something you would do that, wouldn't it? Phone Laura at work and say you need to come home.
In the past, Baz, probably. I do get Betty. But see, Betty likes playing with spiders. She'll sit. I've seen her sitting watching the telly with one sitting on her shoulder. She's like a spider whisperer. She makes friends with them. It's really weird. But I did come home from it the other day and there was a glass in the middle of the bathroom floor. And I thought, that's a bit weird. And then just before I picked it up, I realised why it was there. And there was a fucking spider the size of your hand underneath. But it then just got forgotten about for like 3 days. And I felt sorry for it and let it out. And it was still alive. So it sat under there for 3 days, and I let it out, and it scampered off. So now I'm a little bit braver with the spiders, Baz. I don't know what it is in my old day. Only the last 2 or 3 years, I'm not as shiny. You're right, I am a massive fanny, but no, that wouldn't have been as bad. Very good though. Well done for standing your ground, Baz.
Yeah, I wasn't having that.
Champion. Right, listen. Next show, thankfully, is the pick show. Premier League picks. I'm guessing we'll go Wednesday night, although we haven't discussed it. The games start on Friday, so Wednesday seems prudent. Yeah, we can get into the meat and drink. The entire raison d'etre of this show is to make picks on Premier League matches. So everybody, do your homework and come armed to the teeth with thousands and thousands of bets for next weekend, and we'll smash it into next week. So, Baz, is that you done?
That's me done.
Champion, me too. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I'm fully confident. Every show we do, I get more and more confident about how much money we're going to make and how Newcastle are going to win the league as well. Thanks everyone in the chat.
What I will do, Mark, and one last thing actually is I will set up a fantasy Premier League this week because Callum mentioned it the other day. So I will set that up and I'll put out the code on Twitter and we'll mention it on the next show as well so people can get in. So you can start picking your fantasy Premier League team if you wish to do so, and I'll give you the league code on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it is we're next year.
Right, I'm not playing. I'll get Bob to play though. Bob can be my representative. Bob's at his mates tonight. They were opening FIFA packs, but for added secrecy, they started putting a blanket over the telly and then whipping the blanket off to reveal it. And then they whipped the blanket off and whipped the telly off the thing, and the 1,500 quid telly's now in smithereens on the floor. So I'm not entirely sure if that's my responsibility to pay for half of that or not. But I'm just keeping my head down, bollocks to that. So there you go. Idiots. Thanks everyone for the crack. It was fun. Back on, I reckon, Wednesday, but watch out for the scheduling of the programme. And until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.